Hey, this is Chuck, and you are listening to Fans with Bands, the podcast where we talk to the fans and the bands they dig about life, music, and whatever the hell else we want to talk about. Today on Fans with Bands, we're talking to General 11. Check it out. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Fret Rescue. Located in Southeast Michigan, Joe at Fret Rescue has over 17 years of experience as a journeyman luthier. From basic setup to major repairs and restorations, you can put your trust in Fret Rescue. Contact Fret Rescue via email at fretrescue@gmail.com. You can also find them on social media by searching for Fret Rescue, @FERTRESCUE. That's Fret Rescue. Hey, this is Chuck with Fans with Bands. I'm talking to Eric, Ivan, and Damien from General 11. How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. How about you, Chuck?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. So my buddy Paul from Moonwreckers, he sent me a message and he said, hey, we played this show with this band called General 11. You might want to check them out. And I went onto YouTube and I found your videos. I really dig the vlog videos for like before, you do a show. But the music was cool too. I definitely love the kind of alt rock, kind of grungy feel to the tunes. And then you guys reached out and I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. So thank you again for being on Fans with Bands.
Oh, it's no problem. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So I usually start off with the question of like how the band got formed. I do want to know that, but I'm really curious about the name. Like, how did you come up with the name General 11?
I had gone to see a movie and on the ticket stub it said General Admission 11. And so I put it, we were coming up with band names and I had wrote it down on the piece of paper that we were using. And I don't know, they liked it. I'm not like a huge fan, but like at the same time, it's like, it is what it is. I learned to love it.
Well, it's a unique name because, when you search for General 11, you guys pop up as opposed to somebody that named their band, I don't know, Sasquatch or whatever. You're gonna get buried. But General 11, you just like, there it is, and it's kind of cool because it does create a little bit of a mystery. I was like Googling the hell out of it going, what are they trying to say with this name? But now I find out that it's just a ticket stub. Awesome. So how did you guys get together? How did the band form?
Well, I had we had a different drummer and a different singer. And then we started in like 2016 when me and our old drummer were 12. And then the singer was 13 or 14 at the time. And then a couple of years later, the drummer had to move, and I started talking to these guys. I started talking to Ivan first. We met through a mutual friend.
Yeah, we had met like one time previous in just like the hallway when he asked me to join his band, and I just said no because I wasn't ready, because I'd been practicing for like 2 months at the time, so I was like, I'm not ready at all. Then our buddy was moving, and he was like, hey, can you both come help me? And we both said yeah. I brought my bass, my amp. I think I played like Money by Pink Floyd.
Nice.
That's what sealed it.
And then I met Eric through a teacher that we both had, and she was interested in Eric's band and everything, and she knew of it, and she knew that I played drums too, so she gave me his phone number, and then I called him. I was like, hello. I was like 11 at the time, hadn't even gone through puberty yet, and he said come over, and we played Ward Pigs, and that was my audition.
Yeah, my thought process was I wanted to give him a chance because, like, he was young. Because, like, to be quite frank, I was with Ivan at the time, and I was like, dude, he's young. And Ivan goes, no, we can't. I was like, I was like, well, I want to at least give him a chance, because like I was dead set on being like, no, sorry, you're too
Yeah.
young, blah blah blah. But then he had come over and completely blew me away. And I was like, you're in. I was like, we didn't even finish the song, and I was like, yep, you're in. This is the guy.
All right, so I'm curious. So, how old are you guys? Like, what
I'm
current age?
21.
All right.
I'm 20.
I'm 17.
All right, cool. So, because I was having these flashbacks because, obviously I'm an old fucker, but when I was in a band years and years ago, we had this guy. Sadly, he's passed on. But when it was like the very first incarnation, sort of like when you're talking about a band came together then fell apart at an early
Right.
age. So I started a band. Everybody pretty much sucked. I got rid of everybody, but this one guy, he was 14 at the time. He was, and his name is Tony. He was a fantastic bass player, and I was like, "All right, we're keeping this guy. Everybody else is out." So, but it reminded me of that. I don't know why. So I was, checking out the tunes, like I said, on YouTube. Immediately, I thought of a couple bands like Red Fang, and I thought of Dinosaur Jr. And I was curious, like, what were you guys like? If somebody comes up to you and says, General 11, what does this band sound like? What would you tell them?
I've always had trouble with that.
Yeah,
I
I've
know.
always had
It's
trouble
kind
with
of hard
that
too because you don't really want to say, "Oh, we're like this," because you're trying to be original. But I think sometimes it helps. I don't know. I waffle back and forth as to whether I should like say band X sounds like this or not. But I don't know. What do you guys? I guess what kind of feel were you going for as far as the music in general?
We just I just want to write something catchy, and we just want to write something catchy and heavy,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say whenever I like try and write, it's more like groove based is where I'm going for.
Yeah, groove, heavy.
A little jive and a little spirit.
Yeah. 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 Because you definitely those things. According to your goals, you're setting those, you're hitting those marks. Because when I was listening to the music, I was thinking there's a good, real good groove going on. There's a heaviness both in, instrumentation, but and particularly the drums. They're like really killer. The last couple shows you guys did, those drums that's badass. So,
Thank you.
yeah, I think you're hitting the mark there. So, what was some of your early influences for each of you?
Um, I'd say Nirvana, Tripping Daisy, and Queens of the Stone Age were my like big three main influences.
Um, I like Rush and like Led Zeppelin a lot, and I kind of veer towards drumming like John Bonham a lot. He's
Oh,
kind of
cool.
like the master as I see him. But Metallica's in there a lot too. I really like Metallica a lot, and I grew up on them heavily. And yeah, those are my big three. I think.
That's a good big three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rush, fucking Led Zeppelin, and Metallica.
I think my big three is I think the Chili Peppers, honestly Simon and Garfunkel,
All right.
and probably Primus.
Oh yeah, awesome. Gotta love Les. So, as far as those influences go, like, was there a particular person or a band or just uh, something in your life? Like, why did you want to start playing music for each of you? What was that kind
I
of
got
catalyst?
I know something that really helped me was watching the I think it was 2004 live at Slane Castle by the Chili Peppers. I got it on DVD and I watched it all the way through. I think like 4 times. That really helped like cement it in my brain.
Awesome.
Um, well, I felt really misunderstood. Teenage angst, how it goes.
Yeah.
Um, and I just I found Nirvana and all these bands that talked about real shit, and I was like, well, I hope someday, someone listens to us and feels like finally someone gets it.
Yeah.
Um, I got the classic story of just like beating on pots and pans and shit. And my parents thankfully caught on to that and bought a drum set for me. And then I beat that to shit. And then that was the start of my journey. But Black Sabbath was like the big band that started it for me.
Oh, really?
Definitely. Yeah.
So now, who introduced that band to you?
Probably my dad, just listening to it and the radio. Iron Man, and specifically, was the first song that I actually played to.
Awesome, awesome. Have you? So just on a side note, I recently finished the book by Into the Void by Geezer Butler. So if you're interested in Black Sabbath at all, that's a pretty, although it's kind of a harrowing thing, and so maybe this will influence your career as one. Number one thing, so I don't know if you're familiar with the album Volume 4. That
Yeah.
was their fourth album. There was always the story that there was like a shit ton of cocaine that was used. Those guys were like heavily into cocaine, and so and he says in the book, he says basically, yeah, the recording cost 70 grand, and it was 75 grand in coke. So you may want to watch your influences, or
Right.
yeah. Oh my God. So when was your first show, and what was what do you remember about that show that made it memorable and made you want to like keep doing what you're doing?
Road Rangers.
It was Road Rangers.
Yeah. We played an open mic night. That was our first show.
Nice.
What I remember from that is I fucked up the count. I didn't know how to count like the 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I never did that before that. So like I just messed up on that. It was like a 1-minute thing. Kind of sucked.
How about the rest of you guys?
I think my biggest memory of it, and my biggest like takeaway from it was I just really, 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 really liked seeing people move, because it was an open mic night, so like
Yeah.
everybody was just there to enjoy. They weren't there to like, they weren't there specifically for a specific thing. They were just there to enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like seeing everybody move or get happy with what we were playing or what we were doing, because like we were probably the youngest guys in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very big like thing, because I felt like I was finally connecting with people.
Awesome.
I remember like none of it. I was shaking. I was terrified the entire show. I was up. I got up there. We played, and then it was just like instant blackout till we walked off stage, and I was like, "Do we do good?"
That's awesome. Do you still get that way when you go on stage? You have
Not really anymore. Now it's like it feels like home, kind of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I get just kind of excited and more than scared.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I know that other people I've talked to like just don't really, they're not really seeing anything. They're just like into the music, right? They're not necessarily noticing people around them, except for their band members, but they're just kind of in their zone and
Yeah.
and letting the music go through them. And you may notice like you pick out like like you're saying, you see somebody, they're nodding their head, or they're kind of, getting into the music, and you kind of pick up those little pieces here and there. But overall, you're just like, I don't know, focused on your shit and making sure that everything's good. So,
Right.
except for counting in Damien. Then. So, I know you've got some tunes that you've recorded from shows. Any plans to record like and I'm assuming most of those tunes are originals. Are you planning to do some recording?
We are currently talking to a few producers. We talked to a few studios, and we have friends and other bands that want to record us. And it's kind of tricky right now because we
Yeah.
don't know, like, we don't want to let anyone down, and we're just trying to make it fair for like everyone basically. Um, but right now we do have plans on recording for June and possibly releasing in September or October.
Cool.
Not maybe not an album, but like some singles or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of bands they either go whole hog and they get like do 6, 8, 10 songs, put them all at
Right.
once. Or I've seen, I think even like, was it the Gasoline Gypsies? They were just doing like some EPs, and then some singles, which I think is kind of cool because then you can kind of, give somebody something in June and then, July and
Right.
then come, November, throw out some more songs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And since you guys have been together and doing some shows, what's your songwriting style like? Is it pretty much you guys getting together, come up with tunes, or is it like, you know, Eric, you're like the primary writer and people add in? How's it work for you guys?
Well, it's usually like I'll write a riff, uh, and then I'll bring it, and then we'll all like, we'll just add in parts and stuff.
Yeah,
Like they'll add their ideas into it, and and then sometimes we just jam, and it just turns into something.
yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
jabs.
A lot of the time it's that like that, but I'd say a majority of the songs that stick are ones that are already written that we bring to the table.
right.
Because like sometimes jams like come in like to those songs and then we just keep them.
In there, yeah.
uh so it's a very random process,
It all works though.
but yeah, but
It always-
Yeah.
it always works out
Yeah.
in the end.
That's cool. And so you're basically like, what I think of it as doing it sort of old school, because there's some folks that just do, record like in their room and they send shit out. But it sounds like you guys are like getting together, doing the jamming together, and then forming, taking an idea and growing it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So what are you guys looking forward to over the next and so just so you know, this will come out like in July, so don't say any shows there between now and then because it'll be after the fact. But what are you looking forward to in the next 6 months to a year?
I'm looking forward to just releasing and meeting more people, meeting more friends, and trying to maybe get on a label or maybe go on a small little tour around, Michigan or maybe the Midwest or something.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that can happen.
Yeah.
But what I'm looking forward to is really just recording and getting these songs out and playing as many shows as we can.
And we got that show coming up with Chris Jericho.
Yeah, we got a show coming up with Chris Jericho.
I
Yeah.
forget what band he's in. It's not like Fozzy, it's one of the other ones.
Oh, really?
The name of it. Yeah.
At the we're at Machine Shop or
I think it's
The Diesel.
Diesel? All right, cool. Excellent. That place is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great.
It used
Yeah.
to feel like cursed when we played at it, but
Yeah.
like something happened where it complete shift, and now we're playing our best shows there.
Yeah, like I broke my glasses there one time.
I broke my glasses there twice.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you?
Oh man. So how what do you feel? I feel like that's a good venue. There's a bunch of good venues in Detroit. I'm in Ann Arbor, and there's a couple out here too in Ypsi. What do you think of the overall music scene and particular, like venues that? Do you feel like it's supportive enough, or are you feeling like, man, I wish there was more places to play?
I feel like oh man, that's a good question. I feel like I like more intimate shows, if that makes any sense. Like shows where bands reach out to us
Mm-hmm.
or we reach out to bands and we're like, hey, do you guys want to put a show together here, there, wherever? The music scene, it's it's all right, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm liking it. You know, some bands are a little bit more you know, kind of gimmicky and seems like they're just there for, you know, like
Yeah.
I don't know, some bands it doesn't feel like they like the art more than the image.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
other bands you can tell that they really, really like the art. And that's where we try to strive in is more so artistic than the image.
Yep. Yep. Well, I think too, and you can correct me if this sounds right for you guys, but I think there's a level of authenticity that a band gives off as far as like they actually really care about what they're doing, their music. Not that people, I mean, anybody that gets on stage, you know, one, you gotta have the balls enough to do something like that, um, or the gusto, because you know not everybody has balls, but you know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
just have to have that drive to want to do that. But there are certain folks that want to do it, like you said, for um, maybe you know just the prestige of it, as opposed to the actual, you know, the desire for that music. And I think that kind of carries through. And that actually, I think it's what weeds out bands. You know, 2 or 3 years down the line, a band that's not really focused on creating great music is probably going to go to the wayside, is my theory. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Um, I agree and disagree because like a lot of a lot of bands that are more image based, you know, are pretty good. You know, like Motley Crue and stuff like that. Like
Hair
their
metal.
hair metal
Yeah.
as a whole
Yeah.
was like, you know, like it's not really my forte, but I
Right.
can
Right.
respect it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like it also makes you think like how many bands failed back then. So I get where you're coming from because there's
Yeah.
probably like a lot of bands that just like had the image
Right.
but didn't take it serious.
Yeah. And didn't have that kind of drive to make it happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, kind of going back into the origin story for you guys. What was the very first um, album, CD, uh, record, whatever that you guys bought with your own money? Like,
Oh wow. Okay. Let me think.
A lot of my CDs were inherited, uh,
Yes.
but I did break one. So I guess technically Breakfast in America by Supertramp
all right, awesome.
was my first CD that I bought when I was like 12.
That's awesome. Cool.
My mom used to burn a lot of CDs, but I don't think that counts. But the first one that I bought officially was the Dark Side of the Moon vinyl.
I remember when
Oh.
you bought that.
Yeah, yeah. That was the
Excellent.
first
I do
thing.
too.
Yeah, that was the first thing I ever bought.
You buy it at Walmart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was only one left at the time, so
Destiny.
I put it underneath the shelf because I couldn't buy it at the time, and I hid it from everyone else. And then I was like, okay, I'm coming back here when I can afford this. And then like a month later, I came back and it was still there.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I think mine was Turnstiles by Billy Joel from
Oh,
like a
really?
Barnes and Nobles.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool.
You
So,
can buy that with me?
No, I think I bought that with Charlie.
Oh.
nice. Are you guys like are you buying vinyl? Do you have vinyl now?
Oh yeah. I used to be a collector like 2 years ago, and I still go to record shops and I look around and stuff.
Nice. Nice.
But I haven't collected anything in a while.
Um, I lost all my vinyls, but yeah, I used to buy a lot of vinyls.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got I was around basically between the time when, you know, vinyl was there, then vinyl wasn't there, and vinyl came back. So
Right.
Yeah, I love that it's making a comeback. It makes me
Yeah,
so
it's-
happy.
Yeah.
I kind of want to make a vinyl.
Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah.
definitely.
You know, that's what I really dig is that a lot of local bands are putting out vinyl. I just got really great band from Lansing called A Rueful Noise. You guys might actually probably would be a fairly good show if you wanted to check those guys out. very cool, very awesome. Kind of, uh, eh, they're a little different from you guys. Well, they're a lot different, but I think it would gel, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got it. They just put out their album on, in vinyl, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I think it's fantastic. So now, if you guys could go anywhere in the world and play, where would where would you guys like to go, and who would you like to have on the bill with you?
I want to go to Pompeii personally.
Ooh, that's good.
That's a good
I was
one.
thinking,
Hyde Park, probably.
Oh, awesome. Very nice.
oh, I think the Coliseum would let us do that.
Now, who would you who would each of you like to have on the bill with you?
Um,
You know what?
local or like actual
Doesn't
famous?
matter. Yeah, it could be
I
anybody.
I want to go with the lineup we just had at our last show where we had.
Is it a festival or like a concert?
Let's say like two other bands opening, or
Two other
Okay.
or
bands.
you're opening with them. However you want to work it.
Okay, I'm gonna say three just because I want to include all of them that we just
Yeah.
played with.
Hell yeah.
Pregnant Teenage Hospital, Theater Girl, and Glenn. Those are
All
the
right.
three bands I'd pick because I love those guys.
I would pick Perfect Strangers and Theater Girl.
Oh,
Nice.
it's hard to narrow it.
Very hard to narrow it down.
I think I agree with Eric.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to narrow it down. I feel like Perfect Strangers and Theater Girl have a very, very good sound that is almost similar to ours,
Uh-huh.
but different enough to like, be, their own entities,
Yeah. To make it interesting, so that it's
Yeah.
complementary but different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Now, if you are in these different places, is there like a pre-show ritual or something that you have to do before you get on stage?
We usually that's funny. We usually our pre-show ritual is we go out usually in a car or anywhere else like around the venue, and we um usually have a shooter of Jim Beam and a Fago or any like off-brand pop,
That Omaha Punch.
the Omaha Punch. And we start by, I have like this necklace that I wear for good luck that my grandmother had given me. And so we'll kiss the necklace, and then I have like this little statue of like a wizard. I think it's a statue of Gandalf, like this tiny one. And we'll
Awesome.
kiss that for the ride home.
That's for the car.
That's for the car. And then and then we uh then we give each other compliments
Do a little hype up.
and give a little hype up and give each other 2 to 3 compliments. And then we pray to the universe or God or whatever we
Yeah.
all believe in.
Yeah.
And then we do our cheers, and then we head on stage.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. I love it. That's so cool. It's very cool that you guys like support each other too. I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
goes without saying you're in a band together that you should support each other, but it's cool to like be out there and say, hey, so and so, you're fucking killing it or whatever, So that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it really gets your like blood pumping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's always cool when somebody says something good about you,
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're like,
fuck
okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to go kill
That's
this
right.
shit. You're like, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you should always be, heading on stage in a good mood. You don't want
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Yeah. So, another word of wisdom for you guys: don't ever get dental surgery before you go on stage. Just word of, if somebody says, "Hey, you need to have that tooth pulled," don't do it right before the show. It's just a FYI.
Do you know from experience?
I do.
How did it go?
It was like one of our biggest shows I was in a thrash band back in the early 90s, and we played Harpo's, and you know, it was a big thing for us.
Right.
And I had wisdom teeth, so I had to have surgery for one of those teeth again, and you know, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but it was scheduled that day, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is not good. But I had to do it. You know, I was like, well, I guess I'll just figure it out. So it really impacted because they said, you know, don't spit, you know, because that'll pull the stitches out. And so one, I'm like trying not to like suck on that thing at all. But when you're headbanging, I'm like, fuck, is it like my mouth just gonna fill with blood or whatever? I was like, so I kind of restrained the headbanging and everything else, and it ended up being a good show. But I was like concerned the whole time because I'm like, oh fuck, this thing's gonna rip open. I'm gonna be splitting, but be like Gene Simmons.
Right, right.
It would have been a good image, honestly.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that. That would have been actually really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Back in the day at Harpo's. So speaking of shows, what has been one of your most favorite concerts? Who wants to go first?
We did a concert with Sponge. I think it was April 6th.
Yep.
That was probably my favorite show we've done.
Nice, nice.
That or the one we did at Trixie's. I don't remember the date where the dude drove into the side of the building. Just because there was something in the air that night where everyone was on fire. It was awesome.
Honestly, for me, anything from Trixie's that we've done ever.
Yeah, Trixie's was our.
It's the best place to play ever, dude. Just the energy in the air.
It's so like
Yeah.
warm and comforting in there.
Yeah,
That's nice.
our last show from Trixie's was very good.
Excellent. And I'm trying to remember, where is Trixie's at?
It's over in Hamtramck.
Oh, huh. I'm surprised I haven't. I'm trying to remember if I've been there or not. I've been almost everywhere in Hamtramck, but I am blanking out on what that place looks like.
Too long ago. I can't remember. Like it changed their name like
Oh, they
6 years
did?
back.
Okay.
Yes, about 6 years ago.
Oh, okay. All right. So then maybe that's why. So anyway, so where was I going to go with that? Oh, so you know, as far as meeting your musical heroes, have any of you guys met one of your musical influences, and what was that like for you?
I have yet to meet a musical hero. However, I did get to meet Matthew Broderick.
Really?
Yeah. My aunt had bought my sister a trip to New York when we were kids, and of course, me being the younger brother, I had to go. So we went to see a Broadway show, and I got to talk to him for like 5 seconds, but I was like 8, so I don't really remember much of it.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, hey, and he was like, hey, how's it going? Blah blah blah. And it was cool. It was all right.
Yeah.
And
That's
then I like watched Ferris Bueller, and that changed my life. I started skipping school every day.
Oh,
I've
awesome.
never met anyone.
So
Honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I'm lucky. We get to meet Chris Jericho. That's one of my heroes.
get to
That's
meet
awesome.
Chris
I've watched
Jericho.
him since I was a kid.
That's cool. That's very cool. Have you met anybody else? No?
We met Sponge.
Sponge, yeah.
Dude, we're forgetting
yeah.
Sponge, man.
Yeah.
Sponge.
Yeah, those guys are kind of, Detroit heroes. Actually,
Yeah, they're pretty
Yeah,
sweet
they're
dudes.
so nice.
They're
Yeah.
really, 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 really nice, and they're real with you too. Like they're very blunt, very,
Yeah.
very straight up people, straightforward, quick to the point.
So now, if you could meet one of your musical heroes, who would that be? And what would you like to ask them? Not that this podcast will result in any of that, because I still haven't met Dave Grohl, and I haven't met Bill Murray. So
I was gonna say Dave Grohl, dude.
Oh,
I
really?
would love to meet Dave Grohl and be like, I'd ask him one question. I would be like, why did you quit Queens of the Stone Age to go back in the Foo Fighters?
oh right,
That's what I'd ask him.
That would be I would like to hear that answer, because
Yeah.
Songs for the Deaf is fantastic. Yeah. Damien, how about you?
I mean, he's dead, but I'd like to meet Neil Peart.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd ask him. I'd have to think about that for like days on end.
You just helped remind me. I think I'd pick Geddy Lee. I don't know what I'd ask him, but I just want to meet him. He seems like I listened to his audiobook.
Oh yeah,
He
that's a
just
good
seems
book.
like he seems like one of the nicest guys ever.
Yeah, yeah. After that book had a well, I've always been a big fan of Rush and Getty and Alex and Neil, but I really did have a really good, I guess not better, but just reaffirmed a lot of things I had thought about him, without
Yeah.
actually knowing him. I did meet him once because he had his big bass book, that.
Yeah, the big book of bass.
Yeah, yeah, because he was at Rock City in Livonia.
Oh,
This was
sweet.
like I think pre-COVID. It probably was pre-COVID. Yeah, and he was signing his books, so you got to walk in,
Awesome.
and you weren't supposed to like give him a message or anything. You're just supposed to write down your name. But I said, can you write, hey Chuck, Primus sucks. And he goes, I can't write this. I thought to him, I go, well, come on, Les is a friend, right? And he goes, all right. So he wrote on that book, Primus sucks. So
That's awesome.
I thought that was probably kind of fun. So, what that was, now I kind of lost my train of thought. Um, oh, as far as like going to a show, what's been one of your most favorite concert memories of a show that you went to?
I got to see Smashing Pumpkins during the Shiny and Oh So Bright tour,
Oh, nice, very nice.
and I went with my dad. So it was like every that was like the best show. But I also went to go see Primus with Ivan, and it's very hard picking one or the other because like
You can pick Smashing Pumpkins because I'm going to talk about the Primus show.
I guess the best part of it was I like when I went I was 14, so like my favorite part was when they played Cherub Rock. But like now that I'm like older, I think the coolest and best part of the show was Porcelain of the Vast Oceans.
Ah, cool.
Because I did not expect that song to be that good, and
Yeah.
it fucking blew me away.
That's
What
awesome.
about you, Ivan?
Oh, okay, yeah, it's the Primus show, and it's everything about that because it was where were we at?
The Michigan Lottery Amphitheater, I think.
Yeah, and it's outside, and it's just ever so slightly raining. There's like
Oh,
80
yeah.
joints being passed around, so I'm getting a contact high, and it's just like it's coming down beautifully. They have this TV that is playing just there. I forget what they're playing. They're playing different stuff for every single song. And like there's like a Salad Fingers one, this one where it was like kids with monkey masks on.
That one
Yeah.
freaked me the
That some of
fuck
them were
off.
freaky. So
Out.
and then that show really locked in Professor Nutbutters, like that whole song as one of my favorites because it's so good live. You just get so pumped.
When was that show? Was that the one they did Farewell to Kings when they played?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
You were there?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was awesome.
Cool shit, man. That was pretty. That was a good show, dude. It was so good.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, we were, yes, because it was raining like hell. It was cold. And I remember it was like kind of blowing in from the side. I felt bad for
Yeah,
everybody
dude.
sitting on the side because I was like, oh shit, that's got to suck. Because it was cold. And I was
It
like,
was
God
it was
damn.
very cool.
Yeah. And we were down in that main area, where I don't think there were seats. There was like that standing room area in front of the stage, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were down there, but
We were like,
sheltered
I
a
think,
little
like,
bit.
we were like 4 rows back to the right, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you should have told me about the rainbow hat thing, man.
I didn't know that was a thing.
That was really cool. You remember that when they pointed out that one, like I think it was
Just some dude in
just
a
some
rainbow
dude in a
hat.
rainbow hat. And then there was a guy in the pig mask, the Mr. Crinkle mask.
Yeah, I saw him. I saw like this big. It was like a 6'5"
Yeah,
dude. I
dude,
just
he
saw
was
him.
huge.
He'd keep walking by, and I'd see him for 2 seconds, and he'd be gone. It was uncanny.
I'm trying to remember. I do remember the guy in the pig mask. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember because I'm mixing it up because I went to see the Frog Brigade at Masonic Temple, and there was some dude all dressed up with all kinds of craziness. So yeah, it's a little bit of a blur, but anyway. Damien, how about you?
I saw Korn. That's the only concert I've ever been to though. And it was pretty good. Jonathan Davis was sitting in a chair for most of it because he had like COVID at the time or like
Oh, geez.
before. Yeah, so yeah, he was sitting in a chair, but it was still a really good show. Very
Awesome.
good show.
Awesome. I don't know if I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I've actually seen Korn.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I mean, I've seen the bands that were around during that era, like Godsmack and the hell was that other band? Seven Dust. But I don't know if I ever saw Korn. But anyway. Well, guys, I really appreciate you being on Fans with Bands. And I've got one more question for you. That is, pineapple or no pineapple on pizza?
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
No pineapple.
I love me a good Hawaiian pizza.
I can't stand it. I don't know why. I've tried it like 6 different times. It's just not for me.
It's just
It's got like a perfect complexion of sweet and like salty, man.
Yeah, I think if you are a pineapple on pizza person, you're a sweet and savory person, right?
What about anchovies?
Anchovies, actually, I'll tell you, I do like them sometimes on pizza, but if you get they're these ones, so usually they get those really shitty brown anchovies. I don't know how else to describe them. They're usually brown in a little jar or whatever, and that's what they put on there. But sometimes some places go all out and they put these white anchovies on there that have been pickled. They're fantastic. Let me just tell you. Totally doesn't taste like crap like the other ones do. And it's, it's not like somebody, put their diseased foot on a fucking pizza. It's like, oh, this is really good, So, and yeah, I'm sort of with Ivan on the pineapple thing because I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to judge you guys, so it's all good.
Right.
I'm not gonna judge you guys too hard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was just like, why did you ruin the pizza? But it's okay. It's all right.
right.
Well, guys, thanks again for being on Fans with Bands.
Thanks
I
for
will
having
definitely be looking to check out a show sometime.
Yeah, for sure. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks. Have a good one, man.
All right, man. Many thanks to Eric, Ivan, and Damien from General 11 for joining me on this episode of Fans with Bands. It was great to meet these guys and talk about music. They are putting a fresh and vibrant spin on alternative rock that is both heavy and, you know what, groovy. I very much enjoyed learning how they came together and where they see themselves in the music scene. General 11 are looking forward to recording later this year. They also have a show coming up on July 5th at Diesel Concert Lounge with Chris Jericho's Kuarantine. Stay tuned to their website and socials for the latest news. See the show notes for all the details and links. Bands are nothing without you, the fans. Purchasing music and merchandise is critical to their survival. If you can help out your favorite bands, please do. If you're in Michigan, consider following the Playing in Detroit Area Tonight and SE for Southeast Michigan Music Facebook pages. They are fantastic places for bands to support each other and share our combined love of music. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast service to get each and every episode of Fans with Bands. Spread the word by rating the show, telling your friends, telling your neighbors, telling your family, telling your priest, tell everyone, and leave a comment. We want to hear what you think. You can keep in touch by following us on social media. This is a Life in Michigan production. Until next time, be well and kick out the jam.